Established by Cork farmer's son Pat O'Flynn, AVR Safeway manages hazardous waste. What began as a disposal company has grown into a recovery operation, making fuel from waste. AVR has doubled its throughput every year since 2001, when the first drum arrived for disposal.
Our core business here is hazardous waste management. So we deal with mostly the pharmaceutical industry, but a lot of small to medium-sized enterprises where they produce quantities of hazardous waste. Recovery is far better than disposal, and that has been our ethos from day one. The way I've always looked at the waste industry in Ireland is to make sure that we can provide sustainable solutions, but the sustainable solutions have to be economically viable as well. The material comes in and we test it. Once it passes this test, it's allowed to go into the fuel blending schedule. It's blended and we make a fuel from that blend, and that fuel is basically to replace a fossil fuel. A lot of the cement industries would be using coal. Now they can use this fuel as an alternative to it. If you can have such a thing as nice waste, this is really beautiful waste that we have here in Ireland, and we can make a lot of things with it. We started out with 80% of our waste going for incineration when I started, 10 years ago. Now I have the opposite, where we have 80% of our material going for recovery options.
In the warehouse, we're loading from 2 Thoughtlanders into a 7-box, and from the racks onto a KW box.
The market for the type of waste streams that we deal with here in AVR Safeway is approximately 100,000 tonnes. We deal with about 60,000 tonnes of that here in this facility. It's a national facility, you could say that, and I'm very proud of that, to be able to show that North Cork town of Fermoy can actually produce a facility like this. I completely disagree with people that suggest that stick to what you know, and the worst thing you could do is know everything up front. So the reality is you should, if you have a good idea, run with it and make it happen, and the less knowledge you have, maybe the better.
The company grew up on the O'Flynn family farm, as did this year's Gold Cup winner, Denman. His half-sister, Miss Denman, still resides at home in Fermoy, where they both got their famous name from another business Pat had purchased years before.
We proposed that we would take over the licence from a company called Mitsui Denman. They're based in Little Island, and basically they were in troubled times and wanted to move back to Japan. We proposed that we'd buy the plant and take over the licence. The Denman name we transferred to the good horse, we thought, and it travelled well, I must admit, and he was very lucky with that name, you know. It's always difficult to come up with a name for a horse, so we thought Denman was a nice name, and I suppose we were heavily involved at the time with decommissioned plant, etc. It was a lucky one too. Horses are very fickle animals, and they can do extremely well or they can do extremely poor, and there's really no middle ground. I think that you can guide businesses easier than you can the horses. You have a very good chance of kind of organising people and telling people that they can do well if they achieve, but there isn't a great deal you could tell the horse to overachieve. He's either good or he's not, you know.